Hey everyone, welcome to It Tastes Different Gaming Podcast. And before we start, I'd like for you to like this video, make sure you subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you can get updated on new videos that come out from us. We release new videos every Tuesday, Friday, and Sundays. So if you hit the bell notification, you'll know when those come out so you can stay up to date with all new release videos. Thanks for watching. What's for dessert? George finds a half-eaten eclair in the trash can with, "What's the deal with 3-player co-op?" All right. On this episode, we're going to talk about 3-player co-op, not 4-player co-op, because that seems to be what everyone's making. So, for some reason, developers have decided they only have 2 friends instead of 3. And they want to make 3-player co-op. We're a band of 4, as you can see, so that really sucks. And, it's really weird to see that trend happening. We first saw it really with Destiny, and then everyone kind of jumped ship with it and started making other games that were 3-player co-op. And I just don't know, what do we do with that 4th player? What do they do with it? And what makes them think that 3 players is the go-to? I just don't understand that, but we're going to talk about it and see what, kind of what we think and what we think of that and why developers have decided to go 3 players. They still make 4-player co-op games, sure, but a lot of these newer games that have come out, Outriders and various other ones that I'm sure we'll talk about, have been just 3-player, which seems really odd. So, let's see here. Who wants to go first? Anybody? Takers? Oh, Shane does. Shane, how about you, buddy? What do you think of 3-player co-op?
Oh, I could count it on my fingers, but I might hold up the wrong ones. I hate 3-player co-op. I do. I think it's dumb. I think it's idiotic. I think there's no reason for it. I think it's just stupid. I've been playing games a long time. Been playing online games for quite a while now. I have never been in a group of 3. We may have a 4th person sick, 4th person, may not be on that night. That's okay. I understand that. But no, I've never played with a group of 3. I've never had my 3-man team. It's always a 2-man team, a 4 or more. Never 3. It's just stupid. I think whoever made a decision for 3 only had 2 friends. And that was his parents. So it's stupid. It
I know
really
it
hurts. It really hurts our game time. Russ, right now, we reviewed, what's the damn game we just reviewed? Outriders.
Okay.
Yes. And, the 3 of us started with it. And, Russ kind of got pushed back to run himself. And that's horse and crap. He shouldn't have to for a game that has 4 players, or 4 characters, excuse me. It's dumb. It's absolutely dumb. Somebody gets left in the cold on these things, and it really feels like crap on our team, because it always feels like, all right, well, those 3 are going to go play without me, or, it makes you feel kind of left out. I don't like it. But I can only hate on it so much at once, so I'm going to take a breather. Russ, what about you? How do you feel about 3-player gaming and the idiocracy that it is?
Well, I mean, I feel like Pat really has something to say, so I'm going to maybe pass it to him real quick. I mean, it looked like he had something to say. He was going to say something. I'm curious to see what he wanted to say.
I know, that's why I skipped and went to
you. And Russ, you're talking with your headset, Mike.
Oh,
yep.
God.
So I know who's to blame. It's our parents' generation. And you know why that is? Because our parents were the one who always said, take your brother with you wherever you go. So you went to go hang out with your best friend, and you had to bring your brother along with you. And you were like, this sucks because I want to go do this, and he's too little to do that. So that's what it is. It's our parents' fault. They made us bring along our little brother when or maybe you were the little brother and you hated it that you couldn't do what your big brother was doing. So that's where this is coming from. You
that
you
feels
went to hang
disgustingly accurate now that you said that.
It's our parents' generation's fault. So now all of us are grown up and we're the ones making the video games, and we're like, you know what? I remember the pain. I remember the pain of having to bring my little brother along everywhere with me. So now I'm going to make video games so my little brother can play with us. So
yeah, not his friend, just him. You
right.
can't invite his friend there.
Yeah, he can't invite his friend because you don't want to hang out with two little crappy little brothers. You got one, you got your own little brother, you don't need another one. So you're like, I got to drag this guy along. I'm not dragging his friend along with us. So
they give him the Mad Cats and tell him he can play with it. Here you go.
Exactly.
Here's the crappy controller.
You get the Mad Cats controller, buddy. Yeah. And so that's what I think has happened with video games today, is that's where we're at. Our parents are to blame because they're the ones that made us a little sibling tag along with you, a little brother, a little sister, or maybe you were the little brother or little sister. Your parents are to blame for this show we're in today. It's their fault.
Yep.
So,
now go sit in the corner for doing that.
right. I don't know, man. It makes absolutely no sense. I mean, everybody, the way gamers usually work is they're paired up. I don't know how else to explain it. Everybody that I know that's a gamer, they have a really good friend at the game with. So, and then usually you met another friend who's a gamer. Well, he's got another buddy that games with him. So it's like, it's like me and my friend. Hey, I bring a friend. That friend brings a friend. So it's always like an even number. I don't know what's up with the odd number of players in games. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, 2-player co-op makes sense. 3-player co-op doesn't make sense. 4-player makes sense. 5-player doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's okay. And then some of it's, and once you get above 4-player anyway, it's more just, I don't know, a big group game rather than just a co-op game at that point. I don't know very many like real co-op games that are 5 players, 6 players, 7 players. Those are all just shooter games or something like Rainbow Six Siege or something,
I was about
like
to
Among
say,
Us or something.
Right.
Party games.
Yeah, exactly.
Not really co-op.
Right.
But what about you, Nick?
What about me? Yeah, no, I don't get it either. I mean, Destiny was the first one, like I said, to start this. Now, in Destiny's defense, they only do have 3 classes in that game. So it's like, okay, they designed it this way. Why they designed it that way, I don't know. I mean, Destiny can be a really fun game, especially with your friends. And I think, I was really hoping with Destiny 2 that they would have made it 4-player co-op, because they could add another class. There could be another class in there to do something, and I think they kind of, I don't know, I feel like they missed an opportunity in Destiny 2 to be able to add another class and another character set, because then we could have had 4-player co-op. That's what, before they even announced that it was going to be 3-player or not, like when Destiny 2 was announced, I was like, oh man, they're going to make it 4-player this time. Awesome. And no, they stuck with 3-player. But then you have games like Outriders, which has 4 classes and it's only 3-player. And it's like, why? Why make 4 classes if you're only going to allow 3 people to play? Or why make 4 classes if you're going to only make it 3 players? Why make 3 players with 4 classes, right? And then, so these other 3-player games that have come out, and was it Gears? Gears was a 3-player game, which, Gears has, I can kind of see it because, I don't know. I still would like Gears of War to be a 4-player game. Even through the, well, I mean, there's typically 4 people with you. Just one of them's
One
an
of them
AI,
was, right?
Yeah.
One of them was 4-player, but I think the majority of the
Oh.
Gears Wars are 3, because we played the 4-player one, remember? I think we were
think
making
Gears-
jokes about
Which one-
somebody
which
riding
one was that
on the
one?
back.
Gears 2 or 3 was.
Was
Well,
it?
one
Or
where
was
you-
it Judgment?
I don't think it was Judgment, was it?
It was
No.
one where you were playing the Son of Phoenix, and it was like one of the earlier ones of those where you went to find Phoenix up in the cabin. And, I remember that one because I was pretty sure we were making fun of each other because somebody had to ride on the back of the bike when there was only 2 bikes. So there was 2 people riding a bike and
Well, that
2
would be
people
Gears of
behind
War
them.
4 then.
4,
Yeah.
is what you're
Yeah.
talking
That was
about.
4. I think that one was like 4-player co-op.
Oh, no. Okay. So I see a breakdown here, and I don't know if there's conflicting results here. So it looks like Gears of War 3 and Judgment were the only two that had a 4-player co-op. So Gears of War 4 was 2-player.
Gears of War 4 was 3-player.
Or 2 and 3.
Or yeah, Gears of War 4 was 3-player because one of you played the robot.
And the last one was only 3 players.
Oh, wait a minute.
That was Gears of War 5.
That
Gears
was
of War 5 had
5.
the
Sorry.
robot.
Yeah, I apologize.
Yeah, and the last Gears was only 3 players because
Yeah.
we end up Russ getting left out of that one too because we played the first one and then the expansion, just me, you, and Shane because Russ got left out of that one as well. So
The expansion was great.
yeah. So Russ ends up getting the one left out a lot of times. Sometimes I should say, because sometimes Shane just disappears or he's got stuff he does and can't play like Destiny and stuff. So we play a lot more Destiny with Russ, but Russ oftentimes, more often than not, gets left out. So Russ, how does it feel to be the friend of the little brother who gets left out?
The cruel irony is that at the beginning of this podcast, y'all are going to see a lovely picture of just me standing there, probably like this, because I had some technical difficulties. Seems to be that I am the bastard child of the group. But you know, I mean, I don't know if you guys mentioned it, but like there was Hunt, there was Remnant, Outriders. I mean, like there's quite a few games. And usually it's just timing, you know, at least 90% of the time it's timing, whereas you three have a perfect night to get on and I've got something that's going on. So just y'all aren't going to hold it up. I mean, y'all are going to play. And so next thing you know, y'all are level 15 and I'm like level 4. And it's like, well, you know, y'all come back and play a little, but it is frustrating. It's very frustrating at times just because, I mean, like a game like Remnant. I mean, Remnant was a really, really good game. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I mean, and there they are. It's a 3-player, and so what ends up happening is you guys have to bear with coming back, whether it's me or Shane. Normally, I mean, not Shane as much as me, it seems, but you guys have to come back and kind of carry us through a portion of it or something like that, which actually doesn't even make it that fun for me on occasion. Sometimes on me, it's like, golly, I want to be in here and I want to be fighting just as much as everybody else, but because everybody else is outpaced me, you know, y'all are storming through a level and I'm not even getting to really enjoy it. I'm just kind of like running the back, picking up gear. And, you know, it's a little infuriating. I mean, sometimes, but you know, I'm not really sure what the judge, what changed this landscape to be 3 players. Is it because it takes less coding with 3 players? Is it because, you know, most games were like 2-player co-op and they're like, well, we can add a third pretty easily if we clone this code or something or whatever that case is. I'm not a programmer. You know, some people do have some experience in computers around here, but maybe not programming necessarily. So maybe that's why we're all kind of like, well, it really doesn't take that much to add a 4th. I mean, especially in Remnant, especially in Outriders, the game is not that compact where you can't why you can't add another 4th player. I mean, all it is upping maybe upping mobs up 25% or something per each, 25% per player or something. Whereas I think Outriders, it doesn't really matter how many people you have in there. It just matters what your world tier is. So why not add more players into it? So it is confusing. It is frustrating. It definitely is.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you just mentioned it there. It does seem to be that way where that ends up happening. Because if we come back and play, I mean, and it happens quite often. I mean, I would say the majority of the time, Nick and I end up playing a lot more than you and Shane do. And we go back and play with both of you because me and Nick we each beat Remnant because you have to beat it for each, Nick beat it. And then he came back, him and I played, and we beat it. And then we tried to take Shane through it, but Shane's like a wet noodle in a sack. You know, he couldn't help beat it. You know, he was wasted. He was just wasted flesh.
We
back
never
there.
could beat that game when the 3 of us were together. Never could.
But we do come back. I mean, because the same thing happened with Outriders. I mean, me and Nick and Shane were playing, and then Shane just, Shane turned into a pumpkin at 10 o'clock at night, and Nick and I just powered through it, and we ended up leaving Shane in the dark, and then we would go back and help Shane out, but we could power through it because we were like 5 to 7 levels above him. And then when we go to help Russ, we're 10, 15 levels above him. So we just powered through it. And Russ is a little brother back there picking up sticks on the ground when we're riding bikes, because he can't keep up on his little bike. But that's what ends up happening, right? I mean, and it sucks. I mean, occasionally we do find really good 3-player or 4-player games, but more often than not, the ones we want to play, like Destiny, are 3-player. Outriders, which is 3-player. Left 4 Dead was 3 players, wasn't it? And it had 4 characters, I think.
No, Left 4 Dead was 4-player.
Was it?
Yeah, Left 4 Dead was
Yep.
4. Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say I'm looking forward to the new Back for Blood, which is supposed to be 4 players and has
Yeah.
a plethora of characters. But that's what
Or
ends up
they-
happening. Go
Or
ahead.
they throw a 4-player like State of Decay where only one player's story progresses. I mean, it's like, what is going on? Like it is very
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah,
If they do that on the next one, I'm gonna crap a brick. I'm not even joking. That's stupid when that happened.
yeah.
But at
hopefully
least
they
Nick
won't.
got to enjoy it. It was
I did.
his
I played the
game.
crap out of
He got the
Yeah,
he got
and
the
you-
boon from us.
Yeah. You mentioned Hunt. Like Hunt's a great game. I wish it was 4-player. I think that one was only 3, and I think me, you, and me, Pat, and Russ played that one, and that's a really fun game. But I wish it was 4 players because it would be cool to run together in that game.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just kind of weird, and I don't know what they're thinking. Like I said, I think I do know what they're thinking. I already mentioned it earlier, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense in our group, and we end up suffering for it.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the story when I was back in the Russ remembers this, back when we were big WoW gamers, and we played in a progression raid guild, 40-man content, and then when vanilla WoW went away and they had Burning Crusade, I think was the first expansion that came out for WoW. It halved raids. You no longer had 40-man raids. You had 20-man raids. And so what happened to the guild? The guild ended up breaking into 2 progression groups. So what happened? Team A took all the good players. Team B was left with the leftovers. So you had the pro team and the backup team. And you just you're like, screw these guys. I don't want to play with these guys. They suck, even though that you're in the B team, or whatever. But I don't know why they do it. It just seems like it creates contention amongst gamers like us as a 4-player set of gamers. Somebody's got to sit out. And it just sucks that somebody has to sit out when there's no good reasoning for it. Hunt makes absolutely no sense. 4 different classes, 3 players. Destiny.
Well, the
3
majority
players.
of games are like that. I'm going to agree with you, Pat. But
They do.
Destiny does. At least Destiny has 3. At least they have 3 classes. I mean, I don't want to give that any more props than I want to, but at least the common sense of it is they have 3 different classes. I mean, they have a true trinity within that. So it's like, but any other thing, it doesn't make any sense.
The PvP on Destiny, I honestly cannot remember. Was there 4-player teams or?
It was 3s and 6s. I think it was 6s. So honestly,
And I was trying to remember, wasn't the raids 5 players in Destiny?
raids are 6 as well. I think you may
That's
want to
what
look
I
it
was
up, but I'm
thinking.
almost sure that it's 6 as well.
Yeah. And that's really just a stupid way to work it. I mean, you have varying amounts of players for varying, for different modes and whatnot. That's just that's just dumb. I mean, there's no other way to look at it. When one of us is out, say for I'm doing a family thing, Russ is on a date, Nick is dealing with his kids, you're dealing with your kids. When one of us is out for a personal reason, perfectly fine. It makes sense. It happens. But one of us is out because of the game itself. That sucks because it really does. We have our best times together as a group. We do. When one of us is out, we still have a good time, but we're still missing that little piece of our pie. And it don't feel right. It really don't. I mean, when me and Nick were playing It Takes Two, we had a blast. You guys are playing It Takes Two. You had a blast. We play Rainbow 4-player. We having a blast. But when we play Outriders or Hunt or whatnot, it does feel like no matter what we're playing, it's 3 players. It does feel like that, we're missing that little piece. And it sucks because the 4 of us become so accustomed to, send a message, we're all online. It bothers me, especially for the games that really don't make sense to have 3-player.
Well, it's an oddity because PC gaming has so many options for multiple players, and console gaming is trying to be the leader in those things. Why they haven't taken that cue from PC gaming. Now, of course, games like Command and Conquer, Age of Empires, Civilization, stuff like that does not play well on the console, and that's not necessarily every person's cup of tea here either. But at the same time, we could get there's so many first-person shooter games on the PC that are for multiple players, 4 or more players, along with MMOs and stuff like that. Whereas the MMOs on consoles are garbage. They are money grabs. They're just not very good. But then all these games, the problem is this. For example, Ghosts of Tsushima was a great multiplayer 4-player co-op game. But that's a diamond in the rough. And it seems like that game was very successful. So they want to take a game like Destiny, which was successful, but only 3 players, and taunt and keep doing that, which Destiny's success is, I mean, I think that actually would be debated by some gamers too. I mean, it's a good game, but it's not the game. But you look at something like Ghost that was able to put it together and have that, why other games wouldn't have those game modes, or at least kind of like have that 4-player co-op story mode. It baffles me. It's very confusing. Call of Duty, stuff like that. It just doesn't make any sense why these games, if they already have 3 players, I can't see how difficult it is to put a 4th player, because you can always go down. You never can go up. So why give your player base such stringent rules? Like, if we can go take a 3-player and go play 1 player or go play 2-player, why couldn't we just start at 4 and then go down? So if one of us were missing, you could still play 3, and then that 4th player can pick up and still play together. I mean, it doesn't make any sense in my opinion.
And we do that. I mean, Rainbow Six Siege is a perfect example of that. We do versus AI all the time. And what is that normally? A 6v6 map or something like that? Is it? Or yeah. And we do 4v6. We'll play 4 of us versus 6 bots or whatever. But Rainbow Six did a stupid move. They were like, hey, let's create this co-op thing called Rainbow Six Parasite, and let's make it 3 players. We only have 6 players, but let's make this 3 players. What were they thinking? What went through their brains when they go, hey, let's take this 6-player game and turn it into a 3-player single, a co-op type adventure? And you're just like, what happened? What happened to you? Why are you going to make 3-player? Why not 4-player? So companies do that. I mean, I don't know. I get kind of tired of it, but yet again, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who will have their 2 best friends and they play everything together,
Well, just think of what we played recently. Somebody always has another friend. Just think of what we played recently, Second Extinction. That's a 3-player co-op. There's 6 characters to choose from in that game, and it's 3-player co-op. And and all it is just kind of like a open world, kind of like Left 4 Dead in a way, but more open world, kind of like mission objective against dinosaurs. So you just dropped in this big open land and get attacked by dinosaurs, and there's these different events and stuff, and there's this main event that you have to take that you got to do, and that's all it is. So it's like, why couldn't that game have 4 players, especially when you have 6 characters to choose from?
Because every time we played that game, you kept getting kicked off.
Well, it is in early access, but I mean, like when it gets fully released, I mean, again, the whole idea of the game and everything, and especially having 6 characters to choose from and only allowing 3 players to play together, just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and when I first saw the trailer for that, I was so pumped because I thought it was a 4-player game, like 4 players, dinosaurs, I'm in. And then I find out 3 players. Damn it. And that sucks.
But I think Nick is really, really on to something with that. A game, it's an open world game. You're not tied down to a linear path for the game. The coding on that cannot be that difficult when it's that open. It in a linear game, you have spacing, you have stuff like that you have to worry about. But in an open world game, it just doesn't make any sense at all.
Right. And what's ended up happening for the most time is we're pining for a co-op game. And because we get stuck with, it seems like co-op games are like maybe 1 a quarter, maybe if we're lucky 1 a quarter. So by the time the next one comes out, we've played the crap out of the last one, or we're still playing Rainbow Six Siege every now and then, if that tells you how much we're looking for a good co-op game. And I don't know about you guys, but I am like frothing at the mouth for Back 4 Blood that's going to come out in October of this year, because I'm ready for another co-op game. We've got some good ones coming up, but Where are
or
they?
we get
Hurry up.
stuck with something like Ghostlands or something like that, where admittedly it's a night or two of great fun because we end up doing 2 or 3 missions, and then Nick goes in there because he has flashbacks of WW and being Rambo, and then Shane's trying to jump off of helicopters, and it just goes. But again, the game does not lend to something to really want to progress into. It's just stupid fun for a little bit. Some people swear by it, but it's not the same thing as us getting into a Remnant or something like that, or whatever it is. That maybe, I mean, Remnant doesn't have the greatest story ever, but it has a great mob base. It has a great skills base. So in other words, like how you're playing that first person, it's not just a complete shoot 'em up, but there is a lot of shoot 'em up tendencies to it, but it's enjoyable. It's kind of like, whereas Destiny is the same way a little bit. I mean, I enjoy Destiny a lot. I know Shane's not a big Destiny person, but I love Destiny a lot. And I love, the way that the abilities work and all that. Of course, again, that's another game that not a 4-player game. It's really, really minimalistic. Same maps. You're doing the same daily quests, stuff like that. So, it's an attempt at an MMO versus us having a co-op storyline game that if we only get one playthrough and we get 20, 25 hours out of it, we'd probably be super happy with that. We'd probably be very happy with that.
Yeah. How many times have we been, like you were saying, jonesing for a 4-player game? Can't find one. How many times we jump into Rainbow, Uno, Monopoly, just so we can play together? I mean, you can't shoot the Monopoly, man, but I've tried. And it sucks that you can't, just get those games 4 players. I mean, they should be able to patch them. They should be able to do something, especially with games that have multiple classes above 4. And somebody's just getting left out. I've never heard anybody say anything good about Destiny's 3-player or any other 3-player game. I've heard nothing but complaints. And that's just, that's Bungie's fault, or EA's fault, or whoever, or not EA, Activision, whoever made the decision for 3. I don't like it. I don't want it. And it needs to be rectified. It needs to be stopped being made.
Well, I don't know, but I like Destiny. I played quite a bit of Destiny. I think
Destiny's fine. It's overrated, but it's fine. It's a fun game. It is, but it's overrated. But the 3-player is what really blows it out of the fun zone. I mean, personal opinion.
We get pining for a game, a good co-op game, and what do we get? We get Hood, Outlaws, and Legends. That's what we get.
Yeah, and you can't even get co-op in the games that really deserve it, like G.I. Joe.
Well, and they call that co-op, and that's not a co-op game. In my opinion, co-op is like play co-op campaign, not. In my opinion, Rainbow's not really co-op; it's just multiplayer.
Yeah, it's a multiplayer. Yeah, that's right. That's what I was. That was kind of what I was trying to lean towards. Was there's a difference between when we say we want a co-op game versus playing a multiplayer game. I mean, Uno and Monopoly is a multiplayer game per se, but what was the last real, co-op 4-player game we played beyond like State of Decay, which again, that was like, level up whoever wants to be the main person.
Ghost of Tsushima was probably the closest thing we had to a true 4-player cooperative game. But
Deep Rock Galactic too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Deep Rock, exactly. Yeah. I forgot about that. That's one. If nobody's played it, that's listening, jump into it.
Yeah, there you go. That was a good one.
No, that's a Nick player game.
Yeah,
that's me standing on the outside of the damn door, going, ain't going in. I ain't going in.
Yeah, but, I mean, there's more cooperative games on PC, that you'll find than console. Console's really lacking, especially lately. There was that trend where there was like co-op games coming out of the yin yang. Now you could barely find them. They're just trickling out, and exactly right with Russ was saying. Hood is not a co-op game; it's just a 4-player multiplayer. PvP, but it's 4 players, right? Same thing with Rainbow; it's PvP, but or with a PvE mode. that's just 6-player, unless you want to play the quarantine, which they had for that limited time, which was only 3-player. So, and they're supposed to be making a new one called Parasite. It's going to be interesting to see if they make that 4-player or if that's going to be just 3-player. So,
if they make it at all, I mean, really,
supposedly
I
it's
haven't
still
heard
in the
nothing.
process. But I really, the main thing I want to know, besides Patrick's joke about 3-player and how it's devised, is really what is the cause for that? Like, what, from a developer or from a developer's stance. I mean, and maybe they've answered it before, and maybe I just never found the answer to that. But like, what is the cause of that, or what's the reason why they choose 3-player? I mean, there's got to be some sort of reason why they've gone this route.
Yeah, I think there's a financial benefit in some way to it. You have our group of 4. It's a 3-player game. We all get it, but somebody's left out. So you tell your buddy, hey, man, why don't you get this game so we can play it because, my group doesn't have it. And they're like, oh, okay, well, I'll go ahead and get it. They were going to get it originally. They might squeeze a few more cells out that way. I mean, it's just, my thought. I mean, it has some sense to it, but I hate to think of it as that being the true reason to make it a financial thing. If it was a technological thing, I would understand. But like Russ said, a lot of these I don't see, and I'm not a computer person. I don't know for sure, but I don't see why they don't have a 4th player in them. I mean, it really does.
You can't say it's hardware based for PC because they're the perpetuator of 100-player Battlefield games back in the day.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. So,
I mean,
it can't be technology based.
Right.
There's no way we can blame it on tech. There's a way to do it because PCs have been doing it for years, and now we're getting machines that are consoles that are more powerful than the newest computer, at least at release. Maybe not after release, but at least at release, we're getting PC level consoles now. Maybe not before, but now definitely.
Or you'll end up getting a 4-player co-op game, but it's like couch only co-op in this day and age. I don't understand couch co-op only co-op. I mean, I understand couch co-op, it's fun, but if that's your only option is couch co-op, then and you can't play online, that makes absolutely no sense to me. So those developers, I don't know, maybe they just didn't have the development time or the development skill, but couch co-op only, like Battletoads, makes no sense to me. It should have been online multiplayer on that one, but I don't know.
Yeah,
what
Battletoads, right? Cuphead. I mean, those are both fun to play with my son. But I want to play with you. I want to play with Nick. I want to play with Russ online. I don't want to go to your house. I've seen what's on Russ's coffee table. I don't want to go there.
I don't want to go to your house.
I want to exactly. We don't want to go nowhere unless we're board gaming. This weekend we're going to get together and board game. Awesome, but when it comes to the games, we just don't want to go nowhere. We want to pop on the headset, throw on the mic, and then sit for an hour and a half talking while we download something because we couldn't find anything else to play.
Well, and I mean, we do have a decent upcoming backlog of supposed 4-player games this year. I mean, we're that MechWarrior 5's coming out, Dungeons and Dragons.
It
Dark
came
Alliance.
out actually.
Oh yeah, it's out. Yeah, I forgot. No, it comes out 27th, I think.
I thought it came out last week, but I may be wrong.
But then we got Dungeons and Dragons, Dark Alliance, The Ascent, which looks really good, Back for Blood, and maybe Halo Infinite, maybe. So I mean, we do have a catalog of stuff coming out, but we still, what ends up happening is we seem to be jonesing for that game just when a 3-player co-op game comes out. I mean, because we're supposed to be, I think left this year is the Aliens Fireteam game, which, I could take or leave it, but that one looked pretty cool. And then Origami 2 is still slated to come out this year, and it's 3-player co-op as well. And these are co-op games I'm talking about, not like multiplayer games. Everything I said is like play through campaign co-op with your buddies. I mean, I guess we would basically be doing a disservice if we said there was more, but in my opinion, there's more 4-player plus co-op games that come out than 3. It just seems like the 3-player ones that come out in the middle of this random time, it just happens to be when we're jonesing for a co-op game.
Yeah, definitely. It just might be a sign of the time that's temporary. Like you said, there is a more 4-player thing coming, but I don't know. I guess because mainly, more people are playing games right now. When I was working from home, I had much more time to play games because I didn't have to go nowhere. I could sit there and play a game at lunch. But, hopefully Bungie will listen to this and go, you know what? We made some mistakes. I like what them guys are saying. 4-player co-op for now on.
Destiny 3. Come on.
Destiny 3
co-op.
now with 4. Yeah.
Destiny
3 now with 4.
Damn right. But,
Hey, that's a good catch line. Maybe add another class too while you're at it.
yeah,
so when you can get their own.
No crap.
Yeah. So cool. I mean, yeah, it's
They're going to add the
interesting.
timekeeper. He'll take you back to 3-player co-op.
Nope, it'll be just Nathan filling. That's all it is. Just him running around in every show he's ever been in.
It's going to be spectator mode. The 4th player is a spectator. That's all you can do.
Oh my god!
He's over there, guys. He's behind the bush. He's behind the bushes.
You get to play as the robot, the little
the Dinklebot.
Yeah, the Dinklebot.
The ghost.
Yeah. The ghost. You can just float around and examine stuff.
He's over there behind the bush. Not the bush. He's behind the bush.
It sounds like that's Russ's next character.
Right? Yeah, because Russ always ends up getting the crap characters.
I'm driving the boat.
Looking at the mast all day long.
Hey,
that's what he does.
You're the captain. You're the captain, Russ.
Right. While the 3 of us slack off in the front of the boat and Russ runs into an island because we're not looking out for him.
That's true. Yeah, you're the captain. Captain controls the boat.
But the captain also almost always stays with the boat too. So even when Russ does get to play with us, he usually gets the crap end of the stick on that, doesn't he?
That is true.
Most of the time he does want to stay with the boat because he can go out there. But he's like, no, I'll stick with the boat.
Well, yeah, because just in case somebody's coming, because I'm ready to fight all the time. So
that's true.
I'm hoping that somebody comes rolling up on us. That way I can yell at y'all to shoot everything.
Right. He's like, I'm pulling up on him. Get those cannons ready.
Get back to the boat. Get back to the boat.
All right. All right. Well, anybody else got any eye openers that they want to bring up on this one? I mean, I think we touched upon what our thoughts are on why there's 3-player co-op.
3-player bad, 4-player good.
I just want to know why.
We'll say more than 3-player. I mean,
right.
I mean, MMOs have been almost 5 players for years, and then they went down to 4 in a couple of games. They tried to do that for a little bit. And now they're back to 5 players, or something like just be smart about it, guys. I mean, use a pattern that's been successful. We can always play with less than we can, because that's the limitations that you guys are giving us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm good with 5. I mean, somebody here got a little brother we can play with.
Or kid.
Don't fix a problem that wasn't a problem.
Exactly.
Right. All right. Well, I think that Claire that George found in the trash can's catching up with him because he's making a mess over in the corner. So we're going to have to go clean that up. So we hope you enjoyed this episode and listening to us rant about 3-player co-op games. We hope to catch you in the next episode.
See ya.